Hey everybody, welcome back to the Shane Plays Let's Play series of Shadowrun Returns Dragonfall. This is part 5. Last part we stormed the hotel that evidently translates to the boiler room or the boiler house. Got in a few combats, picked up some discs. We were looking for Green Winters. He ended up being dead, but we found some discs in his safe. We also picked up a new decker named Blitz. Now we're coming back to our little headquarters. So let's see what the text says here. It says the cruise bazaar or bosser. That's our neighborhood. Your team makes its way back to the nearest U-Bahn station. 20 minutes later, you're on a return trip to the cruise bosser, leaving the filth of Drogon Kippa far behind. But the image of Green Winter's twisted corpse continues to linger in your mind. You lift one of the discs that you pulled from Winter's safe to the light. Reflections dance off of its surface. With luck, you'll soon have the answers that you've been looking for. And we're trying to figure out who set up our team on the first run of the game, and that ended up getting our leader killed. Let's load on in here. La la la. Alright, here we are. So, little yellow diamond shows that we need to come over here to headquarters. I'm going to stop and chat with a couple of NPCs on the way back that are just right in front of me. Hello again, my friend. What can I do for you? And this is the guy that runs the sort of charity, but he's also sort of racist against humans. I'm going to say I'd like to talk to you about your organization. I gave him some money last time, so let's see if I can make some headway with him. Yes, of course. Please go on. We've already been through all these dialogue options, so I'm just going to say I'd like to talk to you about your organization's policies. Yes, what would you like to discuss? This says nothing for now. Let's talk about something else. No questions, so I can't go any further with him right now. Maybe not at all. I don't know. And I remember this troll. The old troll putters about, his artificial joints complaining loudly. He seems heavier today than when you first met. He takes your approach as a reason to seat himself and rest. I understand they put you in charge of Monica's outfit. I can say word travels fast around here. I'm the most qualified. Looks like we're both carrying heavy burdens. I'm going to say word travels fast around here. Hell, an old man farts and the kids across town complain of it. You need something from me? I can say, how are people handling the loss of Monica? I'd like to hear a little bit more about you. Nope, didn't mean to bother you. I'm going to say I'd like to hear a little bit more about you. Let me guess. You want to know how I lost the legs? I could say if you're offering, or I wouldn't want to pry. If I had biotech of level 3, which I don't, I could say those prosthetics are antiques. I'm just going to say if you're offering. Might as well hear it from me, one of the out-of-breed kids running about. Lost the legs during the First Euro War, if you must know, in a bombing. Now you need something else from me? Alright, so I'm going to say, how are people handling the loss of Monica? I think most are still in shock. You just wait, that'll pass. Then the panic sets in. Few folks have any real discipline around here. Monica kept them calm by keeping them safe. Now that she's gone, they're going to start realizing what a heap of misery this blasted city can be. So I can say you don't seem too worried. You consider yourself a man of discipline then. And what about you? How are you feeling? I'm going to say you consider yourself a man of discipline then. More than most I've met. Surely enough to keep my head when the shit hits the fan. Really doesn't matter that much to me. But to the rest, it's going to be a different story. Monica kept this place in one piece. She read the flux like a bird reads the wind or a fish reads the current. Without her, there's no telling what's going to happen. Anything else you want to jaw about? Nope, didn't mean to bother you. Alright, so Let's go ahead and head back to our little headquarters here. The import shop. Alright, so I'm back in my crib. All this crazy stuff. I guess this is all imports, so there's all these weird antiques and stuff. And, oh, it's Dante! Hey, Dante! Hey, boy! You look down and see a pair of bright eyes set into a scruffy face looking back up at you. Dante, Monica's old dog. Looking down at those huge brown eyes, you see intelligence and sadness. On some instinctive level, you must know that his master is gone. Dante lets out a small whine and rubs his head against your leg. So I pet him. Woof. So, let's talk to him again. Sit. Play dead. I'll pet him again. Alright, woof. It's good old Paul. Amsel's expression is harder than you've seen it before. When he speaks, his voice is grim. Eager has told me of Green Winter's death. She said that he died in the same manner that Monica did. I could say I've seen worse. She shouldn't have done that. Speaking for the team is my job, not hers. It wasn't a pretty sight. I'll just say it wasn't a pretty sight. Amsel nods gravely. I know that you and Eager have had your differences. I will tell you that she was badly shaken by the sight of Winters' body. She also mentioned that you found something in Winter's safe, a package full of very old desks. May I see them? Of course. Hand them over. Goodness. Gingerly, Amsel lifts the disc from the bundle and holds it up to the light. Slowly, he begins to turn it in his hand, causing rainbow patterns to shimmer across the surface. Patterns. I mean, not patterns. I haven't seen one of these since I was a boy. On an aside note, this is Shane talking. It sounded like they were describing CDs or DVDs. And I was like, that's kind of old tech for Shadowrun, but anyway. This is a DVD RW, a data storage medium from the mid-2000s. I'm amazed that Winters was able to find a device that could play it. Do you know how we can read these things? He puts down the DVD in his hands and quickly inspects the others. The first disc that I looked at might be readable. The others are damaged, some severely so. I have my doubts about them. For now, let's concentrate on the undamaged disc. There's a little shop outside, the Data Haven. Talk to the proprietor, Malit Hoyle. She may be able to help. Tell her to put the cost of the device on my account. I'm on it, or why don't you do it yourself? This might come as a shock, but I'm not going to be a jerk like that. I'll just say I'm on it. Alright, I'm on it. Let me go talk to my little dudes here. What's up, Dietrich? Hey, boss. Dietrich gives you a slight nod. What can I do for you? How are you holding up? You seem to take Monica's death harder than the others did. Any thoughts about that last run that you'd like to share? Nothing right now, Dietrich. Let's say any thoughts about that last run you would like to share. Well, we found Winters. That's something, I guess. This whole thing has me feeling uneasy, boss. But at least we have a direction to look in. So now I'm going to ask him how he's holding up. Dietrich shakes his head, a wistful expression on his face. Nah, no harder. And I'm less buttoned up than the others are. Eager'll never let herself show any weakness and glory. Well, she's too full of chrome to feel much of anything. He shrugs. Me? I don't give a darn. I've spent too much of my life putting on a show for others already. What do you mean by that? I used to front a punk band way back when. Believe it or not, I've spent a pretty good chunk of my life on stage. Whenever we weren't playing, I was living up to our fans' expectations. Spouting off, getting into fights, getting drunk, chasing women. Not a bad life, all things considered. Wait a second, you can sing? What was your band called? Maybe you ever heard of it? How did you go from fronting a band to running the shadows? That's what I'm going to say. How did you go from that to that? Wasn't as big as leap as you'd think. I already had a healthy respect for authority, and I had the magic to back it up. One nice thing about shamanism, as long as you keep your idol happy, it doesn't matter what else you do. The Dragon Slayer chose me to be his servant, and as long as I was scrapping with someone bigger than me, he didn't much care whether I did it on stage or in the shadows. Tell me about the Dragon Slayer. He shrugs. Not much to tell. He chose me when I was just a kid. Could always feel him in my heart, goad me to laugh louder, hit harder, and get rowdier than the rest. Of course, my family didn't understand. But the hell with them, I thought. I knew that I was destined for greater things. So I listened to him, and I cracked the skulls of a lot of bad people. He saw this and was pleased and rewarded me with magic. He used that magic to crack bigger, thicker skulls, and so on. He shrugs. It's a simple life, but a good one. Let's see, what was your band called? Oh, I doubt it, boss. We never really got any airplay. I'm going to say, spit it out, oh man. Since when did airplay have anything to do with good music? Come on, Dietrich, tell me. I'm going to say, spit it out, oh man. Alright, boss, if you insist. The band was called Messerkampf, spelled just like it sounds, in big capital letters with an exclamation point. We weren't a big act or anything. We sold a few records here and there, toured around Europe. We had a decent following in England, and we holed up in London from 31 to 36. Spent most of our time slumming around the East End and picked up enough Cockney to irritate the folks back home. He shakes his head. Truth be told, the whole chapter of my life's a bit of a blur. We didn't do it for the fans or the fame. We sure as heck didn't care about the money. All that mattered to us was staying young and drunk and angry. Takes a moment to examine his gnarled hands, a sad smile on his face. We managed a sec or two. Where's the time gone? Dietrich shakes himself from his reverie and looks back up at you. That familiar, easy grin returns to his face. Well, anyway, boss, everything ends eventually. I washed my hands of all this years ago. So let's change the subject, if you don't mind. Alright, so I'm going to say, wait a second, you can sing. He regards you with a critical eye. I was a front man for a punk band, boss. Punk band. I can't sing. But I wasn't half bad at riling up a crowd. Alright, so long, teacher. Take it easy, boss. Alright, so talk to them. La-di-da-da-da-da. I don't think I can do anything in here, yeah. Let me go talk to Eager and Glory, then I'll check the old computer. Eager turns to face you. There's a pained look on her face. Look, I owe you an apology. Oh, is that so? Alright, you do. Or I'm listening. I'll just say I'm listening. When Monica died, I was pissed. That probably doesn't come as a huge surprise. I took the anger out on you, and I shouldn't have. Seeing Winters' body like that was enough to convince me. You couldn't have done anything to help Monica. And I couldn't have either. We're dealing with something new. Monica was a good friend of mine. Her death hurt. I got carried away and I said some things that I shouldn't have. I want to apologize for that. Her body relaxes. She begins to turn away. Anyway, that's all that I wanted to say. So I'm going to say there are a few things that I want to say. She stops and turns back to face you. You can see the wariness behind her eyes. Go ahead. Nobody's stopping you. I can say I can accept your apology, but if you ever insult me in front of the team again, you're going to regret it. I could say that weak apology changes nothing. Behavior after Monica's death was inexcusable. I could say you're a valued member of this team, Eager. We need you now more than ever. I'm glad that you're on my side. That's the way I'll play it. You're a valued member of this team, Eager. We need you now more than ever. I'm glad that you're on my side. She raises a hand and stops you. The expression on her face has gone from cautious to annoyed. Cut the crap, fearless leader. I don't respond well to flattery. I wasn't trying to flatter you, Eager. I only wanted to tell you how wonderful and valuable I am. Yeah, I got that part. And now you give me a pat on the head. I suppose you expect me to fall in line like a good little soldier. You know, there's nothing easier or more hollow than an empty compliment. It's cheap manipulation, and I can always see right through it. She turns away. You should go. I've got prep work to do for our next run, and you got more important things to do than watch me pack my gear. And she got Mrs. Chip on her shoulder. This isn't the best of times. Come back later if you want to talk. And she's got a chip on her shoulder. I'm going to check the stash real quick. Okay, so I'm carrying, what have I got here? Cram, +3 AP. I really need to get this to, I can only get Dante. I don't know if I, +2 body, +2 combat sim that increases quickness and AP +1. 5. Bliss, a tranquilizing narcotic. Incoming damage reduced by 4 for 5 rounds. Strength reduced by 1. Well, I don't know. I've got 1 healing kit. I need another grenade. Alright. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think I can equip this pistol because I need a data jack, however you say it. All right, let's go talk to Glory. Glory's expression remains distant, but her lips curl upward into a hint of a smile. Quick, Luke, need something? So I can say everything's still okay with you. I'll say you can't have started running the shadows much more than 5 years ago, so what's with the vintage chrome? Any thoughts about that last run? I'm going to say any thoughts about that last run? No, quick loop. Nothing right now. So I'm going to say everything's still okay with you? You never need to worry about me, quick Luke. I'm fine. Alright, so I'm going to ask her about her gear. That's not a story that I'm interested in telling out of context. If you really want to get into it, we're going to need to go way back. She stares at you with your cold, dead eyes. I'm not sure that you want to do that. You say that you'll give me answers when we talk about your past, so let's talk about it. I can't chat, Glory. I'll say let's talk about it. Why do you care? There's no hostility in her voice. If anything, she sounds suspicious. So I could say because I'm the leader. I could say I don't care, but not particularly. I'm curious. On second thought, never mind. So I'm going to say I'm the leader of this team, and I need to know as much as I can about the runners who are working with me. She pauses for a moment, considering, then she nods. All right, fine, we could talk, but we're doing it on my terms. This is a long story, quick Luke, long and ugly and cruel. Are you sure that you want to hear this? I'll say, please. All right, I'm going to start at the beginning. Not for you, for me. I guess that might help me to say all of this out loud. She takes a deep breath and slowly releases it. When she speaks, her voice comes out in a cool monotone. My family lived in Stuttgart. It was a nice enough place, I suppose. My parents worked as wage slaves for IFMU. My mom was a good person. Once upon a time, my father was a decent person as well. That's what Mom always told me, but I never knew him that way. She pauses for a long moment. When she begins speaking in, some of the ice has fallen away from her voice. For the first time since you met her, Glory sounds alive. The dad that I knew was an old, damaged Euro war vet who turned to hardline religion to make sense of the world. In Stuttgart, that meant either the Ritter Christi or their fascist cousins, the Kreuzritters. My father chose the latter path. I still remember hiding in my room when my father had his Kreuzritter brothers over for a prayer group. They would drink and get rowdy, and they'd spend an hour or two riling themselves up with talk about heretics and the devil's work. Then they'd go find some poor old elf or dwarf, stomp the living crap out of him, and drown him in the Neckar. Meanwhile, I'd be holed up at home with Mom, who would commemorate the event by drinking a bottle of wine and crying herself to sleep. So I could say just elves and dwarves. I'd assume that a mage or an orc would make a more tempting target. I'd like to get my hands on your dad and his crusaders, see how they like pushing so many can push back. I'm sorry, Glory, no child should have to grow up around that. I'm going to say just elves or dwarves. I'd assume that a mage or an orc would make a more tempting target. What do you mean? Pick on a victim who could fight back? Glory shakes her head. No, my father and his pack of jackals weren't up for that kind of trouble. They'd had more than enough of real combat when they were young men back in the Euro Wars. They just wanted to feel big and in control of their lives again, and it didn't matter to them who they hurt in the process. Anyway, aside from the fact that my dad and his buddies were a bunch of murderous jerks, life was pretty normal. I went to school, made friends, hung out with my mom, kid stuff. Then I turned 14 and everything went to crap. Glory pauses, then swallows hard. Ever so slightly, her cheeks flush red. Suddenly, she looks self-conscious as if she's just snapped out of a trance. As quickly as it came, the flush of emotion disappears. Her voice frosts over. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So I can say airing this stuff out is clearly helping you to work through it. Keep going, Glory. This is just getting good. Or you don't need to say anything that you don't want to, but if you ever want to talk, you know where to find me. I'm going to say airing this stuff out is clearly helping you to work through it. Yes, it is. Glory stares at you through cold, dead eyes. But I'm not going to be able to get through this in one setting. You need to understand that. She turns away. Her movement's mechanical. Now, let's get back to the job at hand, shall we? Alright, so that's Glory. We've got a job to perform, blah, blah, blah. Hit me up after the run. She don't want to talk. So, you know, this is more like some other RPGs where you have standard companions that as the game goes on, you know, you kind of build more of a relationship with them, get to know more about them. Dead Man's Switch, you could hire people, but you could just kind of swap them in and out of your team. You didn't really get to know everybody. There were a few NPCs like Coyote and her boyfriend, I think it was Paco, and a couple other people you kind of got to know, but this is a different level of, you know, story development with the team members. Let's check the old computer. Your workstation and mission computer. From Monica. Cold blue tones, the workstation's main menu fill the screen. A blinking message in the upper right corner notifies you that you have one unread message. So check the inbox. You have one unread message. Commissioning your services. Withheld. I don't know who it's from. 2, quick loop. We'd like to arrange a meeting between you and one of our representatives. You'll find him at the cafe nearby. His name is Luka. He'll be expecting you. Come along. Alright. So I'll go do that. Read your old messages. Okay, so that's the thing that Monica left me that I've already read. Open jobs directory. Be all pending and active jobs. I need to enter query back to root. I don't know if I've got completed. Yeah, I don't enter query. So access the Shadowland BBS. I know I tried to sell something last time. Let's see if I got paid. Pending transaction. Sold. Antiquities delivery schedule. Cool. How much did I get? Winning bid, 550 new yen. Escrow fee. So I got 495 new yen. I like that. That made me happy. Search BBS for thread. Where to find elves. Is there any elf clubs or bars in the downtown area? I really want to meet one. They're just so beautiful. Maybe we can go dancing. Do elves like dancing? From Alex Tusk. There's one in Tostrasse. I think that B, this kind of B symbol is kind of like a double S, if I remember right. Bring a bouquet of roses. Elves love a romantic. From Tolstoy. The elf clubs I know of are members only due to creepy groupies like you. Not really appealing when a guy is only after them for the shape of their ears. From Ruby. Okay, client screwed me. Computer Benno is a fraud. I broke my first rule. Always get full payments up front. Let me hang your 50% of the cash after I complete the job. So, Benno. I'm sure he'll have changed his name by the time this posting goes up. Male elf, brown hair, gold eyes. Look to be in his mid-30s. Be careful who you work for out there. From Pro Shot. Never thought I'd see you admit to a mistake on here. Thanks for the heads up. I'll keep my eyes open. We'll forward any info I come across if you're still looking to collect from the guy. Maelstrom. Pro Shot. Sent you some surveillance footage. Is this your man? From Blitz. Oh, Blitz. My dude, Blitz. Sure is. Nice one. I'll split the take with you if this lead pans out. Good to find there's still some honor among runners. From Pro Shot. No more posts. Alright. I don't have any pay data to post. Yeah, so. Okay, I'm gonna walk out. I do like the, the computer and the bulletin board system and all that. That's pretty neat. Where's Blitz? I thought I picked up a new guy. Where's he at? Huh. I told him to come with me. Did I miss him? Where is Blitz? Well, I thought I had him. Maybe he shows up again later. I don't know. I think he'd be over by the computer since he's a big Tom Decker. I don't know. Yeah, I can't even talk to Paul anymore. Alright, so I need to go to Data Haven and I need to run over to the cafe. Do I need to spend karma? I sure do. I got 11 points. Let's do that real quick. Spend karma. Alright. So I got 11 I can spend. Increases the chance for the greater than normal. So I can spend 3 on SMG. Rifle. Dodge. Dodge helps to reduce the chance of being hit. I'm not going to buff my strength or my intelligence. I'm just basically going to be a ranged guy. I think what I shall do is I'm going to buff my dodge. Yeah, there we go. That leaves me with 8. And I'm gonna buff my quickness by 1, or not buff, but increase it, which it increases my overall chance to hit in rage combat, and also my chance to be hit. So that leaves me 1 point. I'm gonna hang on to that, and next I'll range combat or SMG probably. Okay, so done. Alright. With that I had to mute while I was sneezing. You probably heard me take a deep breath where I was like, at least you didn't have to listen to me sneeze. Alright, so I've got 2,000 new yen. I may run and get a data jack and get a better gun. Look at this guy. Malit. Yeah, this was the guy that wanted to talk to me. You got Malit. Welcome back. What can I do for you? I'm looking for something that can play back a DVD RW. I need some tech, and I'm on a tight schedule. Show me what you've got. I acquired this drone. Can you get it up and running again? In the market for something exotic. What kinds of tech do you carry? Alright, so first of all, I'm going to talk about the DVD RW. Really? That is old tech. Very old, in fact. Just a moment. I will go look. She determines to rummage through a bin of obsolete components at the back of her stall. Ah, yes, here we are. The dwarf wrestles a mid-sized flat-screen display out of the bin. This display is Old enough hookups to connect it to a DVD player. RCA, you know, vintage. Player itself, though, this I do not have. You may wish to try your luck down at the Junkyard. There's a scavenger there, a primitive man with a crude disposition. If anyone here in the cruise boss, I gotta get consistent with that, can help you find your DVD player, he can, but he will almost certainly attempt to overcharge you for it. She takes a deep breath and smiles up at you. Well, you are not here for gossip. Shall we conclude our business? I could give you the display for, say, 200 new yen? I'll say Paul said to charge it to his account. Ah, very well. I will have it packaged up and delivered to her Amsel straight away. Best of luck finding your DVD reader. I wish you well. Alright, so I'm going to go to the Junkyard. Yeah, I need to go over here to the cafe. There's some dude. Wait a minute. I'm going to go back over here. Talking about her having some tech. See if I want to do any shopping. Yeah, let me talk about the drone. Yeah, probably. Might take a bit of doing, though. Love work on these old Corp drones. Can't make you any guarantees, but either way, it's on the house. Alright, I'll leave it in your hands. Let's start on it right now. See you later. So, I don't really need the drone, because I don't have a rigger, and I'm not a rigger. But, maybe I can sell it. That's kind of what I'm going for. Alright, there's Blitz. Okay. Luka, that's the dude. I'm gonna go talk to my man, the proprietor, old Altug. The Turk leads into you, keeps his voice low. I have information regarding that matter my people were looking into, offending. The one involving the surveillance device on my data tab. Jan Goldschmidt says, Altug, I've been waiting for my coffee for nearly an hour already. Are you going to beans out back? The coffee vendor shouts. Can't you see that I am speaking to an honored guest, you tower of quivering corpulence? His voice lowers again. Now then, as I was saying, we were fortunate that you happened upon that surveillance tap when you did. The people on the other end were planning a very bad thing, to be sure. A very bad thing? Quite bad, yes. Monica Schaefer was an important member of this community, more than most were aware of. This Chiez was under her protection. You know how it is in the Flux Fiefdom. The governance of a place like this is tenuous at best. You never know who is going to be in charge from one day to the next. But Monica was a stabilizing force, and not just because she was dangerous. She was smart and funny and wise, and she had a way with people. They wanted to support her, to follow her, because they loved her. When she was killed, it left an opening for others. It would have meant bloodshed and pain if this council had been allowed to continue their plan, but they did not. We saw to it, you and I. I'll say, indeed we did, Altug. The cruise boss will maintain its stability a while longer, thanks to us, my friend. Now, what can I do for you? Would you like some coffee, perhaps? Just killing time. I'll be going now. Alright, let me talk to you again. I told the Turk flashes where I smile when we see you annoying. I'm told you've been quite busy of late, O wanderer of the shadows. My street rats tell me that business is picking up. Is that man who is taking over for Monica, Baraksagazai? Who doesn't look like your rotundity? The Pope from the Vatican? Give him a soy calf, a big one, and put it on my account. I like the cut of his jib. A large soy calf? My, you are the generous one, Goldschmidt. Are you sure you can afford such a gesture? Fat man frowns. And a scone. I was going to say, and a scone as well. Nothing is too good for him. As you desire, O ample one, the Turk whispers. The man is a moron, but he eats his weight in baklava and pastries, so who am I to care? Now, what is it would you like? Just killing time, I'll be going now. Do I want a soy calf? I'll buy one, just to buy one. The Turk looks disgusted. Very well, a soy calf. He just, to himself. Well, you wouldn't let me buy anything else. Just killing time, I'll be going now. I bought, like, the nice stuff off of him one time. The special today is a pumpkin spice soy calf. Alright, let me go talk to Blitz. What's up, Blitz? Blitz seems to have found a home for himself here at Cafe Kezva. You find him jacked into a portable terminal, lounging in a haze of applewood tobacco. He appears to be supremely at ease. He lazily turns his head at the sound of your approach. Without a word, he sighs and jacks out of the terminal. Hey, Chief, you need something? Just checking in. You doing all right? Now that you're all settled in, I've got some questions for you. Any thoughts about that last run that you'd like to share? Any thoughts about that last run? Well, Chief, I wasn't around for most of it, but you got me out of that hotel, and for that, you've gotten my eternal thanks. So just checking in. You doing all right? His smile widens. Great, Chief. I'm doing just great. It's real nice to be able to wind down and relax for a change. No more worrying about this ganger or that ganger sneaking behind me and slipping a knife between my ribs. He slaps the table with a grin. It's a good change, Chief, I gotta say. I'm gonna say no one is ever really safe, not when gangs are involved. Don't let your guard down. His smile widens and he taps his chest. You can see the outline of a machine pistol through the leather of his jacket. You understand me, Chief? I never let my guard down. Not even here. So I'm going to say, now that you're settled in, I've got some questions. Blitz glances wistfully back at the terminal on the table, then turns back with a sigh of resignation. I suppose, but try to keep it short, okay, Chief? I've got things to do. So I'm going to say, how long were you in Dragonfall? I ended up there after the anarchist revolution of 39. I was just a kid back then, too young to realize how good I was, how much money I could have made working the shadows. He shakes his head, a wistful expression on his face. And so, being young and dumb, I fell in with a gang crowd. And that was that. You're a member of a drug gang. Why should I trust you? Why wouldn't you, Chief? I mean, just look at me. He does his best to give you a winning smile. I'm a trustworthy guy. So I'll say, prove it. Tell me about the gang that you ran with. Well, I don't know all that much, Chief. I wasn't a member of the gang leadership or anything. I'm not really sure why you care either. Consider it a test. I need to know where your loyalties lie. It doesn't matter why I care. Just tell me. Consider it a test. He rolls his eyes. If that's what it'll take for you to trust me, fine. Anything for you, Chief. Well, where to begin? When I first arrived at Dragonfall, I spent some time taking in the lay of the land. The Schwarze Hertzgen, I guess, were still a pretty small gang, strictly street level, but I could see they were going places. Did a little pro bono decking for their leader, a fat little dwarf named Dietrich. Soon enough, I was part of the family. For a drug gang, I don't know, the Schwarze Hertzgen were decent enough folks. I made a lot of money with them, helped them take the hotel in the first place. We had a lot of good years there. Then Dieter was killed in a firefight, and our happy little family fell apart. Say, was that when the hotel got attacked? Blitz takes a deep breath, shifts his weight from one foot to another. Not exactly. The Schwarze Herzen maintained their hold on Dragonfall, but the change of leadership was bad news for me. After Dieter kicked the bucket, his second in command took over. She was a real piece of work, called herself Leonie Luster. She had a vicious streak a mile long, and she was none too fond of me. I can't imagine why not. Did she turn on you? I'm going to say I can't imagine why not. I know. What's not to like? Maybe she felt threatened by my friendship with Dieter back before he ate that bullet. Or maybe she was just jealous of my rugged good looks. Who knows? Point is, she went after me vigorously. Within 24 hours of Dieter's death, I had a price on my head. And then the hotel got taken over. So that's what you need to know about the Schwarze Herzen. They were a great gang, a powerful gang. I helped to make them that way. Then they had a new manager to turn over, and everything went to heck. Blitz rocks back on his feet, his hands in his pockets. That's it. End of story. Anything else you want to talk about? So I could say intelligence 2. Wait a second, that isn't it. There are some pretty big holes in that story. Or I could say nothing else, I'm satisfied. I'm going to say, no, wait a second, that isn't it. Come on, boss, this is all ancient history. Wouldn't you rather talk about the future? The runs we're going to go on, all the money we're going to make. Blitz, tell me what happened between Luster putting the price on your head and the hotel getting an attack. All right, Chief, fine. If that's what it'll take to make you happy. So I was in a bind, right? The members of the Schwarza Herzen, who were loyal to Luster, were all out for my blood, and none of the others were going to stick their necks out for me. The advantage of being a ganger is protection in numbers. When those numbers turn against you, you got to get creative if you want to stay alive. What did you do? Blitz taps the plastic of his data jack. Would have had to. Luster declared on me, so I retaliated, and I won. All without ever firing a shot. That's not an answer. Blitz sighs. You won't be satisfied until I spell it out, will you? Okay, fine. I hacked into Luster's computer and sent all of her information to a rival organization. Remember Frank from the hotel? He was my liaison. They hit the Schwarza Herzen and they hit him hard. Then they took the hotel, and then they took me. I'll admit the plan backfired a little. So served you right for ratting out your own gang. You're a traitor, Blitz. Do what you had to do in your place. I'd probably have done the same. I'm going to say I'd have probably done the same. Blitz lets out a sigh of relief. Thanks, Chief. I knew you'd understand. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get back to what I was doing. He gives you a lazy salute. We'll talk later, I'm sure. And Chief, I'm glad to be a member of the team. Jerk. Well, he's not a jerk, but he's a little smart bud. Alright. Luka Durr. Hello, so you're quick Luke, eh? Good. You look the part. Let me get right to business. My organization would like to pay you handsomely to take care of some business for us. All you have to do is to continue your work, and we will touch in periodically to ask you to complete very simple tasks. How do you know so much about me? No thanks, buddy. I work alone. Sure, I'm in. Sorry, I can't help you. Okay, so he's saying my organization would like to pay you handsomely to take care of some business. All you have to do is continue your work, and we will be in touch periodically to ask you to complete very simple tasks. Sounds a little funny on the front end, but I'm going to say, how do you know so much about me? My organization knows everything worth knowing in Germany, including this small pond that is Berlin. It is in our best interest, however, to remain unknown. That much is all that I will tell you. So, no thanks, buddy. I work alone. Sure, I'm in. Sorry, I can't help you. I wish there were some more options here, but for now, I'll say sure, I'm in. Good. Don't worry. I'll be in touch. When I contact you with a new task, you can still take it or leave it. Okay, I like that. If you take it, return here, and I'll pay you a fair sum for your services. If you leave it, my organization will be quite unhappy. I would advise compliance, but there is always some margin for extenuating circumstances. Okay, so now I'm not so happy. I don't know if I'm in with the mob or what. It kind of feels that way. Alright, where is the junkyard? I do not remember a junkyard. Okay, so I got an arrow pointing this way, so I guess I'm heading in the right direction. So, yeah, yellow. This looks like a junkyard. This guy's yellow. Strati. The stout old man looks up from whatever old tech he's tinkering with to squint at you through thick, old-fashioned glasses. He pushes them up with an old-staved finger as he straightens up to nod at you. He speaks with a gruff but well-meaning tone, heavily accented with German tonality. Guten Tag. What can I do for you? Say, my lead tells me the man to speak about DVDs. Little shreusy in my way, huh? Schradi's smile broadens. Well, wonders never cease. Well, introductions are in order, I suppose. Schradi Buchman at your service. The old man raises a grimy hand and salute. Need something salvaged? Some old components? Belegt? I'm indeed your man. Wonderful. How about that DVD player? Let's see. I think I've got something that'll work for you. Schradi rummages through the junk heap on the table behind him. A few seconds later, he snatches a battered plastic lozenge shape from the pile. Ah, here we go. An old Korean player that I dug up last week. 2010 model. A real beauty. Shorty's smile broadens and he gives you a conspiratorial week. I fixed her up and got her running, but without any disc to read, I've mostly been using her as a paperweight. Sounds like what I'm looking for. How much do you want for it? Shorty glances back at his DVD player, a rueful expression on his face. Well, I'll admit, I'm a little loath to part with her. There are plenty of folks out there who'd really appreciate an older player such as this, and I don't even know what your intentions are for it. I suppose, given the time and trouble I took putting her back together, that I'd be willing to partner with her for, say... Shraddy's eyes dart over your gear, calculated expression on his face. About 500 new yen? So I could say, hand over cred stick, deal. Strength 4, we've got a better idea. How about you give me the DVD player and call it even? I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. I could buy a new Trivid player for that. Or I'm short on cash, could offer you something in trade. Try to trade him. No man pauses. Well, tell you what, a few months ago I had a, well, call it a difference of opinion with that Burgazi fellow from the soy cap shop. He hasn't let me into his establishment since, and I'd sell my mother for a decent cup of coffee. You give me a cup of coffee, the real stuff, not that fake junk, and I'll give you the DVD player. Sound like a deal? So I bought the Turkish coffee previously, so I'm going to give him the Turkish coffee. Ah, thank you. Shorty gratefully accepts coffee, then snaps the lid back and inhales deeply, wiggling his mustache as he processes the scent. Yep, that's the real stuff, all right. Shorty gingerly picks up the ancient device from the table and presses it into your hands. The plastic is scuffed and worn. It rattles a bit when you move it. Give her some good use, okay? So, very nice. If I remember right, the doctor was up here. Where was he at? Wanting to see if I can get a data jack. Phone ringing? Let's see. It's an old obsolete phone. Okay, so it's not ringing. There's a in a previous part it was talking about sometimes the phone will ring. And where was the doctor at? He was... I thought he was up here somewhere. Sorry if you're getting kind of dizzy watching me move the screen around. Where was this guy? Is he here? Can't remember. Yeah. I need a cyber jack, or a data jack, because I want a cyber-linked weapon. I found this schematic. Think you can help me up with this chrome? Huh. I forgot about this. What is it? Very nice. The design appears to be simple enough. Yes, I should be able to provide you with this. Won't be cheap, though. So, what the heck? I need cyberware. So I guess since I gave him that schematic, that now that I can auto-inject or hyper. When triggered, accuracy is increased by 6%. Incoming damage is increased by 3 for 3 rounds of combat. Huh, nice. All I want's a data jack. I have 2,200 new yen, so I'm going to buy one. Yep. Alright, what else have I got here? Renriku's basic cyber eye replacement. Extends and enhances vision. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the data jack right now. Cyberware causes essence loss, which I don't need to worry about because I'm not going to be a mage or a shaman, so. So for my character, it doesn't matter, but if you're, there are certain characters, like the mages and the shamans, that check out the medical supplies. got the data jack. I'm gonna see if I can pick up a submachine gun that has a. I'm not gonna talk to Zach Flash. That guy's a little creepy. There was a Gypsy that sells weapons. Yeah, here he is. I have cash and I need weapons. Show me the goods. Welcome back. You need some weapons, some ammunition? I'm here to buy. We have weapons from all across Europe, etc., etc. Impressive setup. Let's do some business. Alright, I want an SMG that has a smart link. That's what I want. Right now I'm rocking a Beretta Model 70 already. So I'm going to... I'm going to stick with the Beretta Model 70 because it has more bullet capacity. So, confirm. And, I'm going to... I wonder if I could sell that. Confirm. You let me sell? You let me sell? Show me the goods. So, view stash, sell items. There we go. So I can only sell stuff from the stash. I'll sell this Ares Predator. Sell that. And I'm also going to sell the Beretta that doesn't have a smart link. So I can sell. So there's a stash and equipment. Okay, so sell. And now, how much yen do I have? 1740. Okay, so that's cool. Pretty jazzed about that. Got my data jack and my smart link submachine gun. I think I can just head. Well, let me talk to. I doubt she'll have fixed my thing yet, but I'll check her out. I need some tech. Got that drone fixed. Those things, they take time. I'm making progress, though. Give me a little bit more. Alright, so let me talk to... I need some tech. What do you got? Oh, okay, so this is like if I'm a decker or a rigger. Okay, exit. Alright, let's go back to the import shop. Turn to Paul. See what other... objectives. Yeah, that's my only objective right now. So, where is it? Oh, there he is. It seems that Amsels assembled the group in your absence. They stand in a group around the old display that you had Malit deliver. On their faces you can see excitement and apprehension, curiosity and dread. Quick Luke, have you procured a DVD reader? Hand Amsel the DVD player. I have it. It's right here. Good. This should only take me a moment. Amsel disappears behind the ancient display. After a few minutes of fiddling with its battered inputs, he reappears, a satisfied look on his face. Everything appears to be functional. The dish could be ready to play. Well, don't keep us in suspense. Start the thing already. Quick Luke went to the trouble of fetching everything. Let him do the honors. Amsel steps back, clearing a path for you to access the antique machine. Okay, let's... Dante. I'm going to talk to Dante real quick. What's up, Dante? Here's Dante. Trying to sit. He sits. Pet him. Woof. Alright. A soft whirring sound fills the air as the ancient DVD player spins the disc up to speed. The scratched LCD display comes to life and a menu fills the screen. So I can play track 1 through 6. Let's just play them. The screen goes black and a cheerful digital chiming sound spills out of the display speakers. A crackle of static fills the air, coupled with a shrill electronic whine. After a few moments, the display goes live and a disheveled-looking man appears on the screen. His eyes glitter with excitement. The timestamp on the screen is 2034 09:15, so it's September 15th, 2034. Adrian Vauclair. That name sounds familiar. We were talking about him at the beginning of the game. Hermie, I think we found her. After all this time. For Schwing. I knew that she wasn't dead. His speech is jittery. You can hear the urgency in his voice. She survived the Dragonfall, just as I've always said. I knew it, and I was right. The screen explodes into static. The electronic whine in the background sharpens into a needle-like pulse of high-pitched sound. Somewhere in the background, Dante lets out a low whimper. The screen clears, and the excited face is closer to the screen than it was before. The words spill out of them, a death's tide. Taking a team into the Sox to retrieve her, the radiation for be damned. We would take the appropriate precautions, of course, but we must go. Hermie, I think that the body may be nearby as well. Somehow she has survived for all of this time. The screen explodes into static again, then clears. The figure flickers across the screen. May not be back for some time. Look after Mom, okay? I worry about her. And Hermie, stay safe out there. I know that things are heating up in Berlin, and I know you. Student protests, civil uprising. You'll be in the middle of it, I'm sure. Just stay safe, all right? And I'll do my best to stay the same. I don't know what's going to happen when I step into the Sox. But I do know one thing. If the Fire Wing is still a danger, I will put an end to her. Once and for all. Alright, track 2. Display goes black, the background whine fades away. A moment later, you find yourself deposited back at the menu screen. Track 2. Screen goes black for a moment, then a figure appears on the screen. Your late client, Green Winters. His elbow is planted on the table that's seated at. His chin rests on his palm. The other hand is wrapped around a bottle of cheap whiskey. Timestamp on the video reads 2053, 12:25. So it's December 25th, Christmas Day of 2053. So that's 19 years later. Oh, so that's what the guy looked like. Found the message Adrian left me all those years ago. Got it cleaned up as best as I could. Strange hearing his voice again. He pauses, take a long pull on the bottle. It's good to hear him, even if he did insist on calling me Hermie. So maybe they were brothers? Dr. Adrian Vauclair, the hero of the people, the Dragon Slayer. My brother. He grimaces and rubs his eyes. Hard to believe it's been almost 20 years. Alright, so I'm going to start recording these DVDs again. For me, for Adrian, for whoever might wind up watching them. Every time I do this, it winds up feeling a waste of time. But I keep doing it anyway, on the off chance that I'll find something important. If I stumble into the clue that leads me to my brother, I know that I'm going to want it on film. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, after all. No sense in quitting now. 20 years, all this time, still no leads. Even with all of my contacts and my resources. Takes another long swallow of cheap liquor. Even with my legendary bullheadedness, I've made no progress at all. I haven't turned up a single gosh darn thing. When I hear something funny, the closest I've gotten to a clue was a rumor. Apparently, a team emerged from the Sox a while back. Nobody's clear on the date, but get this. He leans into the camera and gives a conspiratorial week. Supposedly, they vanished without a trace. He upends the bottle, drains it, slams it back down to the table. His eyes are rimmed with red. Not much of a rumor, considering I already know that you're gone, big brother. I live with that every day. Abruptly, Winters leans forward and reaches for something off screen. The display goes black. A few seconds later, back to the menu. So here we go, track 3. There's a grinding sound from the DVD tray, and Green Winter's image appears on the screen. There's an eager look on his face. Timestamp on this video reads 2054, 10:12. So that's... Is this actually earlier than the recent? I think it's maybe a few months earlier. Stumbled upon this archival footage for Schwing's original attack, months before the Dragonfall. Easy to forget how devastating it was. Adrian saved a lot of people by bringing her down. And I've got the footage all queued up to play, starting now. Additional comments to follow. The slow whir of the DVD player shifts to a high-pitched whine. A distorted, wavering image blooms into being on the screen. A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen marks the date, July 6, 2012. It's difficult to make out what you're seeing at first. The scene is dark and smoky, and the telltale flashes of emergency vehicle lights flicker on the periphery of the screen. The camera pushes in, and you make out two figures standing in a ruined landscape. All at once, the sound cuts in. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are coming to you live from Stolberg. A few hours ago, the Dragon for Schwing launched an unprovoked attack on the sleepy Hartz Mountain town, and you can see the results behind me. Fire, ashes, and blood. We are joined tonight by a survivor of this latest and most horrifying attack. The reporter turns to face a pale man standing behind him. Sir, I understand you've been through a terrible ordeal. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us tonight. Survivor. The camera switches focus to a middle-aged man with a haunted look in his eyes. He stammers out a reply. Yes, of course. If you could, sir, could you please tell the people at home about your experience at the attack? It was horrible, just pure chaos. So many people are dead. People I knew roasted alive or trampled to death trying to escape. My own house was burned to the ground during the attack. My family, we have nothing now. Y'all made it through the attack, though. Your wife, your kids? Yeah, we all made it. Thank God. We rode out the attack in a small shelter. Me, my wife, and our 2 daughters. The shelter protected us, but the heat was just unbearable. We couldn't have stayed in there much longer than we did. How long were you holed up in there? 3, maybe 4 hours? I don't know. We just stayed inside until the heat died down and the screaming stopped. What happened after that? When it was over, when the air cooled down, the reporter nods and the man continues. We stepped outside. There was nothing left, just smoldering wreckage and this dense cloud of black oily smoke and the stench in the air, that smell. It smelled like roasting meat. There was a long pause. From the tortured look on his face, you could tell that he's struggling to decide whether or not to continue speaking. Eventually, he does. My girls, they found what was left of their nanny outside. Her body, what was left of it, was just slumped against the shelter door. I kept telling myself I couldn't hear her pounding to get in, but that isn't true. I could. I just couldn't bring myself to open that door. I couldn't risk my family like that. Not for her, not for anyone. Thank you, sir, for taking the time to speak with us. Yeah. You heard it here, an absolutely chilling account of tonight's attack. Again, the town of Stolberg has been reduced to ash, another victim of the Fire Wing. Stay with us for more up-to-the-minute reporting on Verschwing's Reign of Terror. Green Winter's face reappears on the screen. Okay, it's time for a new approach. Adrian's a complete dead end, and that much is pretty clear by now. So I'm going to do some digging on Verschwing instead. Let's see where this goes. Schwein. The screen abruptly goes black. We're back to the main menu. Track 4. The DVD player ramps up to speed, filling the air with shrill, whining sound. Green Winter's image appears on the screen. The timestamp on the video reads 2054-1031. It's October 31st. Yeah, I think the first video. Yeah, it is in chronological order. Well, that was a bust. Little progress on Verschwing either. Shakes his head. I don't know. It's weird. The information there, it's just wrong somehow. It's too well laid out, too simple. Real life is messy, and this just feels too neat. It's not the only thing that's nagging at me. I'm getting that tingly feeling all up and down the back of my neck again. It feels like I'm being tracked. I'm no Matrix hotshot like Clockwork or Schaefer. I'm talking about Monica. But I'm good enough to know when someone's on my scent. Gotta install some new security measures. Can't be too careful. Winter's image disappears. Display goes black. Alright, track 5. Display goes blank, and the face of Green Winter's winks on his screen. He is seated at the computer. Off to his left, an enormous monitor fills the screen. His voice carries an edge of panic. Timestamp on the video reads 2054-1109. So November 9th. This is 10 days later. I'm getting too close to something. I like how they changed his artwork here. He's looking a little more haggard, a little freaked out. I'm getting too close to something. There's a trail of bodies and there have been disappearances. Clockwork, Martian, Peregrine, they've all disappeared within the past few years. Clockwork just went AWOL yesterday, and they were all making the same sort of inquiries about the Fire Wing that I've been. There are ghost stories spreading around the Decker community. Stories about Deckers disappearing and then showing up again later, but wrong somehow. Scary stuff. I'm starting to think that it's true. Blitz leans in to whisper to you. I know the stories he's talking about, Chief. Never really put much stock in them. Not until now. Could these rumors be related to what's happening here? Am I being paranoid? He pauses for a moment, as if seriously considering the question, and he shakes his head and slams his fist on the table. No, I don't think so. Something big is happening here, and I'm right in the middle of it. Igor cuts in. That's a bit of a leap. One other thing, Tolstoy told me a story about a kill team that might be related to all of this. Tolstoy was one of the guys on the BBS a while ago. Apparently a decker named Hellbore posted a theory about Verschwing to the Shadowland BBS about 5 years ago. About an hour later, a mil-spec team showed up in Meat Space and cooked her entire apartment with her in it. If what Tolstoy said was true, Hellbore live posted the event. She described her killer, this great big orc with skin grafts. He sounds familiar. Pretty sure it's the guy from our first fight. We weren't allowed to kill him. Then the whole thread disappeared, gone without a trace. Leap? Eager love? Sounds like he's on the right track to me. Eager holds her silence, but concedes the point with a small nod. On the screen, Winters pauses. He looks like he's working on something. Finally, he speaks. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Oh, like he's working up to something. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This has got to be for Schwing. All of it. Adrian was right about her. She's still alive, and she's out of his socks. She's covering her tracks, working the shadows, preparing to rise again. That means that I have to find you, Adrian, for everyone's sake. Thankfully, I've got a lead. For the first time in 2 decades, I've got a solid lead. I backtraced all of the Matrix nodes that Hellbore was looking into back before she got cooked. Whoever's been purging the Matrix didn't think about that. And I found out that she's turned up. Winter stabs a few keys on his keyboard, and an image expands to fill the screen of his monitor. A satellite photo of a rural landscape annotated with GPS data. A set of map coordinates. So now I've got a target, a place to start digging. The Harfeld Manor, conveniently located in an island stretch of the countryside, miles away from prying eyes. Matrix records indicate that some sort of data vault exists beneath the estate. So that's what I need to get into. So he sent us, because the game started at that Harfeld Manor. And we were trying to get that data vault and everything went crazy. That orc he mentioned showed up. And this is where we came in. As if on cue, a familiar image weeks onto the monitor. Winters left Monica. I think I'm going to tap Schaefer for this job. She's got the skills to bypass whatever security they're running out there, and she's gullible enough to take the job in the first place. I'll feed her some line about Flux State security, and she'll eat it up with a spoon. Paul, I warned her. Amsel's voice is choked with rage. I warned her. On the display, Winter's mouth parts into a broad grin. Time to put plans into motion. By this time tomorrow night, she'll have the information I need. And on the off chance that Schaefer gets taken out, well, that'll tell me something too. Can't make an omelet and all that. Until then. Winter's image disappears. Display goes black. So we're back to the main menu. Now, track 6. When you play the 6th track, the small video window appears. You recognize the scene in the window. You were looking at the tattered drapes and nicotine-stained wallpaper of Winter's hotel room at the Das Kessel house, the steam room, or the steam house. Time step on the video reached 2054, 11:10. So this is November 10th. There's a blur of motion, and the haggard form of Green Winter slumbers into frame. Suspicions confirmed. Schaefer dead. Winters reaches a shaking hand off camera. A moment later, it returns clutching a cheap plastic drinking glass. He gulps something down, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand, and takes a deep breath. Okay. Back up, slow down, start from the beginning. Winters closes his eyes and makes a visible effort to calm himself. When he speaks again, his voice is steady. Got the call from my contact in Cruisebosser. Schaefer killed on the estate run. Matrix security at the estate cooked her brain. Considering Schaefer's skill and experience on site, IC must have been extreme, even by Berlin standards. Security of that kind costs money. Real money. Given the evidence uncovered so far, corporate involvement unlikely. The connection to the fire wing is too strong. So let's come right out and say it. The dragon is what we're dealing with here. The smart money says that she's coming for me next. Well, I won't go down without a fight. Still got my contacts, still got my connections, and the Flux State can be a hell of a weapon for the man who knows how to manipulate it. Winters takes another long pull from his glass, grimaces, and swallows. Time for me to make my play. Ghost stories or no, missing deckers or no. I've got to jack into the matrix and start pulling strings. The countermeasures that I installed earlier should be more than enough to keep me safe for the 20 minutes I'll be in there. Winters drains the rest of the glass, then tosses it back over his shoulder. A moment later, you hear the dull, clattering sound of hard plastic on linoleum. Schaefer's death was tragic. She was a staunch supporter of the F-State. But still, all things considered, Winters flishes for something off screen. A moment later, his hand reappears, clutching a data jack cable. Better her than me. He pulls the plug. He plugs the cable in his head, and the screen cuts to static. All I can do is eject the DVD. As your finger nears the eject button, a black screen cuts in over the static. A moment later, Green Winter's haggard face appears. If you're watching this, then I guess if they caught up to me, they will be after you two now. Blitz whispers into your ear again, more harshly this time. What the hell is this? Why didn't you warn me about this before I came here? Whisper back. Now, Blitz. Announced loudly. Hey, everybody. Blitz is scared. Whisper back. We didn't know. Not exactly. I'm going to say we didn't know. Not exactly. Not exactly? I didn't come here to get hunted by a dragon. I'm not even a part of this. You are now, whether you like it or not. So quiet down and stop bothering him. Whoever you are, whatever you think you're after, you need to find Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Not because he's my brother. Because if Verschwing is rising again, he's the only one who can stop her. You've seen what happens to people who do get too close to this. I'm dead, and dozens of others have died. You'll be next, unless you can find Adrian. The screen cuts back to static. Message is over. The DVD tray slides out of the reader. Talk to Paul. The room goes quiet as everyone struggles to process what you've just seen on the DVD. Finally, Dietrich breaks the silence. A dragon. Son of a... Green Winter sent us up against a dragon. The Fire Wing. Amsel's voice is thick with dread. She lives. I'm really starting to regret the fact that I didn't just stay at the hotel. Eager ignores him. Wait a second. We don't know for certain. Dietrich lays a hand on Eager's shoulder. The evidence seemed pretty convincing to me, love. I'll even take it a step further. I think that secret facility that we stumbled into was her lair. The room falls silent. Eager and Glory exchange glances. After a moment, Dietrich continues. Just think about it. The Decker that Winters got those coordinates from was posting about Verschwing. Then she was killed by that same orcish jerk that attacked us after Monica died. That's a direct link between the dragon, the scarred orc, and the Harfeld Manor. And then Winters was killed by the same thing that killed Monica. Exactly. My gut tells me the dragon is down there, quick Luke, someplace far beneath the surface. I think that we knocked on the door of their lair without even knowing it. And I think that, given what we've seen, the dragon will do whatever it takes to keep us quiet about it. Eager. Okay, going on the assumption that there is a dragon and that she will come after us, what do you propose that we do about it? So, say, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to follow Winter's advice. We're going to find Vauclair. I say keep things simple. We head back there, kick in the door, kill the dragon, problem solved. I'm not going to say that. I'll say any winner have any suggestions. I'm going to say we're going to find Vauclair. Yes, Quick Luke is right. Finding Dr. Vauclair should be our priority. If we're going up against a dragon, we need to find ourselves a dragon slayer. Winter spent 20 years searching for Vauclair, and I got him nowhere. How do you propose we find him? With the help of an information broker. I'll go talk to Altug then. Let me guess, back to the coffee shop? Do you have any suggestions? I said, do you have any suggestions? Paul says, for a task of this magnitude, we need to make contact with the premier information broker in Berlin. We need to talk to Alice. Who is this Alice? A most prominent figure in Berlin's shadow community. Ex-Schwachwillenreiter, she provides information retrieval services for the F-State. Amsel turns to the computer console behind him and runs his fingers over a virtual keyboard. The machine begins to hum. If Winters was right, Vauclair is still alive. She can help us find him. Console spits out a stick of black plastic. Amsel plucks it from the computer and hands it to you. Here, your key to speak with Alice. Cred stick? Amsel nods. An encoded cred stick, yes, 10,000 new yen. Alice will not show her face for less. This represents the last of my personal savings, quick Luke. Make this meeting count. Where do I need to go? I can say, where do I need to go? 10,000 new yen, just talk to her. Sounds like fair trade to me. I'll take care of it. I'm going to say, where do I need to go? Paul says, take the U-Bahn to the Altstadt-Spandau. I don't know what that means. Altstadt-Spandau. There you will find a connecting tube that the locals refer to as the rabbit hole. You will find a method of contacting Alice there. Don't call it that in front of her, though. Word on the street is that she hates it. Don't call it that. What, the rabbit hole or calling her Alice? Please hurry. While you're out, I will work on acquiring new contracts for the team. Alice is the best there is at what she does, and services carry a price tag to match her services. Alright, so I guess we're going to go to the U-Bahn to meet Alice. And as soon as we get to the U-Bahn, that should wrap this part. We're over an hour and a quarter. It's an hour and 16 minutes. I'm 17, so let's run up to the U-Bahn. I'm not taking my team with me? Maybe I am. I think once I get on the U-Bahn, then I get my team. Bye, Dante. Oh, good grief. Okay, I'm going to end it here, and we will pick it up next time with the rabbit hole when we're trying to talk to good old Alice.